There's nothing more practical than a good theory. And if you want to manage your life, if you want to build a life management system, you should have clear understanding of the framework and the theory behind that application. Welcome to Live Life Legendary. My name is Prince, and in today's video, I will talk about the framework of the Live Life Legendary life management system. So let's get to it. Right. So this was the framework that I showed you last time. I know it looks very complicated, but let me quickly explain what this Live Life Legendary system is all about. And by the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of the framework behind the Live Life Legendary system. So as I told you, there are three pillars of the Live Life Legendary system. As you can see over here, we have pillar number one, which is the game. Then we have pillar number two, the journey. And then we have avatar. So these are the three pillars. And then I also told you that, you have three keys under each of these pillars. So in pillar of avatar, you have the key called character, stats, identity codes, monster and demon. And then in the journey, you have adventure, you have legendary purpose, the core principle, and then you have celebrate, engage, and quest in the game of life. So these are the three pillars. And on top of these three pillars, we have a platform, which is the Mental Works platform. This is the platform on which you will achieve a better life. You will be doing different kind of meditative exercises to transform yourself. But again, that's not a part of this series. That is a different concept, but I will touch upon that concept throughout the series, so you will understand what Mental Works is all about. And we have an entire course coming up on that theory. So if it is already out there, it will be in the link in the description. So you might find the link there, which you can access. Let me show you now each of these pillars first. So the first pillar is the pillar of journey. Now, what is journey? Journey of self-actualization. So the Live Life Legendary philosophy believes that if you have a purpose in your life, that's the way that you should be living. But that purpose is not about helping other people. It is not about, changing the world. Yes, you do those things. But the main reason of that purpose is self-actualization. So when you pursue a purpose, a grand legendary purpose, then you will self-actualize. You will become the best version of yourself. And at the end, it's all about personal evolution. Everything in the universe is evolving. So the center of the entire Live Life Legendary system, the main key out of all the 9 keys, is the legendary purpose, which is in the center over here. All the other things are there to help you. So that's the legendary purpose. But before I speak about the legendary purpose, you have to start from core principles. So core principles are basically your values and approach. What is valuable in my life? What do I want to pursue? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? So, and you have values. Everyone has different values. Money, pleasure, fame, power. These are false values. These are not good reasons for you to pursue any career or any kind of purpose. But there are something deeper, so you find that out, and we'll talk about that. And then there are approach as well. So fun is my value, and the way I approach to get fun, my life approach is adventure. If you are not courageous, if you're not adventurous, then you cannot really have fun. So try to see your life as an adventure, as a game, as an adventure game, wherein either you have, successes and, growth, or you have challenges that you can overcome to grow again. You don't have any problems. You don't have pain. That's the mindset that you have to live by. And when you do that, you will automatically have a fun life. So that is one example of the core principle. I have written FLIGHT over here. It's an acronym for the Live Life Legendary's core principles. When you get the template, and if you want to live your life based on the Live Life Legendary philosophy, we already have certain set of values. If you like those values, you can adopt it or you can create your own. Once you have a clear idea of what kind of life you want to live, what values you have in your life, Then you can create your legendary purpose. Basically, a legendary purpose follows passion, potential, and people. So these are the 3 P's of creating your legendary purpose. Any legendary purpose that is connected to your passion, to your potential, and it helps a lot of people, millions of people, then it's a legendary purpose. The output of that legendary purpose is an ultimate vision of your life. So that is also something that you write down in the system. I will show you that how you create it in the other videos. But you create a vision of your life now. Now you have the vision, you have a clear value, you have a vision. Now you focus on the adventures. Adventures are basically 1 to 3 year long milestone goals, right? So I don't really believe in setting goals in the traditional sense of the word, right? So the way we use the goal setting methodology, it's not effective. So we have a different way of setting goals. Adventures are basically become statements, not goal statements. So for example, you decided that you want to start a business. The first adventure is of getting a business. So you don't write it as if I want to have a business. No, you actually talk about who you want to become in 1 to 3 years. I want to become a business owner of a successful business, right? So it's always about becoming, because as I told you, your journey is about self-actualization. The purpose is all about becoming. And when you become the right person, you will get all the things. And if you become a businessman, not have a business. I had a business several times, but I didn't feel like a businessman for a long time, right? So once you become a businessman, you will automatically have a business. We'll dive into the concept of becoming and personal transformation in a bit, but adventure is all about becoming. Now, once you have a vision of in 1 to 3 years, this is who I want to become, then you can give yourself a start. So as you can see that there is a line that goes from here to here, to your avatar, and adventures also connects to the quest. So let's talk about now the character stats. So I told you adventure is all about the point of becoming. So when you want to define who do you need to become in 1 to 3 years, there are certain stats of this ideal version, your near ideal version. Now again, in Live Life Legendary, even though we have an ultimate vision of how our world would be like, we do not create an ideal self that is ultimate ideal self, like 5 years, 10 years down the line, because that is something that you might not connect to. It's totally useless. And if you focus on such a long-term goal, you will only be dissatisfied with your achievements in the present day, because based on your ambition, what you're achieving is nothing, and you will be comparing yourself with yourself, your ultimate self. So we don't do that. Instead, what we do is that we divide the process of ideal self or personal transformation step by step, based on the adventures, based on these milestones that you want to achieve. So the first milestone you want to achieve, it will be the character stats would be about that first milestone. Once you complete it, then the second milestone, and then the third milestone. So then you have progression. Your ideal version, your ideal self will keep leveling up. So this ideal self is the avatar. That's what we call it. But this avatar has 7 stats. Now, we don't create life areas. We do not, in Live Life Legendary, we don't have the Wheel of Life, life areas. We don't have that. What we have is stats. It's a gamified way of living. So let me show you what the stat is. The composition is related to your mental state, mental content, and spiritual being. So it's about yourself, your mental self. Then you have competency, which is the skills that you have, the abilities that you have. And then you have conditioning, which is your physical conditioning. This talks about your body, the physiological system, the physiological self. It also includes emotional well-being as well, because emotions are physiological, it's chemical. So anything physical is connected to conditioning. Capital is all about your money and the assets and finance. Connections is connected to your people, relationship. It could be personal or professional network, anything like that. Credibility, a lot of people actually miss this, but credibility is all the titles, all the achievements, the rewards, accreditation, labels, titles that you have got, your qualification, education. These are very important stats for you to achieve your legendary purpose. And then you have conquered life, which is all about your ability to manage your time. Now, you might ask why we don't have areas of life and why we stick with stats. We have a dedicated video where I will explain that. But quickly to tell you, you cannot have multiple goals in a particular year. You don't set goals for all the other areas of your life. It's goals are really good for work related stuff, for purpose, but it's not really effective for all the other areas. Habits and systems are. So what we do is that we only use goals and projects for purpose and adventures. That's where we create goals. But we know that you have to live a balanced life. So all the other areas of your life, your connections, your people, everything, you create habits and systems, right? Everyone who has been successful in this world, they mainly focus on one thing, at least one thing at a time. So we always say, focus on your purpose, focus on that one thing. Everything else should help you to achieve that. So you should develop all of the other areas as well. You should not avoid it. But setting goals in all of these areas and then, planning everything, it just, your brain cannot handle so much of compartmentalization. Most people cannot do that. Based on the vision of your adventure, you write down the stats, and to achieve that stats, you find two things. First, you find your monsters and demons. That means, what is stopping you? What are the things that are coming in your way? Maybe the way you think, the maybe way you feel, the things that you do, your negative patterns. All those things are your monsters. Demons are your insecurities and fears and things like that. You have to write those things down. When you identify your monsters, the system also has a place where you can define coping mechanisms to fight these monsters and demons, and also to resolve them once and for all. So, some monsters can be resolved. So monsters and demons can be resolved, or even shadows. So a little bit of shadow work is also included. Once you identify your monsters and demons, you can now think about your identity codes. Identity codes are basically affirmations or personal standard affirmations that tells you, this is who I want to become. This is who I am. So, for example, I am someone who wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the kind of person I want to be. So you write these identity codes down. These are your personal codes. These are like, your own constitution that you believe in, and they also become your affirmation. So once you have these codes, once you have these monsters and demons defined, you also can create your avatar vision over here, right? So that is the vision of your avatar. But these codes are really awesome. So what they allow you to do when you create these codes, they allow you to create systems. There are two types of systems, basically. Habit is one system, and then you have slopes, which is actually called standard life operating procedures and systems. To achieve or set up and, perfect a habit, we have the 6R principle, which is routine, ritual, reinforcement, requirement, removing resistance, and repetition. We will talk about that when we talk about habits. But you create the system, habitual systems are created differently using the 6R principle. And then we have slopes. Slopes are your other systems, which I call standard life operating procedures and systems. So these slopes are basically, when I do this, or when somebody yells at me, I will do that. When I feel afraid, I will do this, right? So you create these if and then rules. You also create SOPs. So if this is the case, then I will do this. So you create step-by-step procedures as well to manage every area of your life. So these are basically your personal systems. So based on who you want to become, your identity codes, you have habits and you have your other systems, slopes, and both of these things will depend on something called life tools or personal tools. I showed you those life tools in the previous video, wherein you have tools for managing finance, you have tools for managing your physical conditioning, you have tools for journaling, for managing your business strategy or knowledge management, and you can literally design any kind of tool. But this is where the power is. Look, these tools that you will create on the Coda application, and you can easily create that on Notion or Airtable as well. But these tools that you're creating depends on your need, depends on your standard life operating procedures and systems and habits. And that depends on the identity code. That means who you want to become. So you see, this system allows you to add any kind of application that you want to add, and it will always be a part of the Live Life Legendary system. So life tools are the apps that you buy or use for managing your meditation or all the kind of stuff, reading, things like that. It could be any tool. It could be physical tools as well, right? So if you use a measuring machine to measure the the food item when you're cooking something, for example, that is also a life tool that you use. So here you can create a repository of all of your life tools. So that is this pillar, the pillar of avatar. Now let me show you the last pillar, the game. But again, let's start from the adventure. As you can see that from this adventure statement, from this adventure, you created an ideal vision of an ideal self, but you also now create quest. So when you create adventures from your purpose. So you begin with the end in the mind. You think about, okay, if that is my purpose, what do I have to do to achieve that? And then what do I have to achieve that? So you work backwards, right? But when you're creating a quest is basically the outcome, the immediate outcome that you can have towards achieving that adventure. And you don't build it backwards, you actually build it on the basis of what you have right now, right? Quest is basically your immediate outcome, 1 to 3 month outcome that you are aiming for to achieve your adventure, towards your adventure, right? So for example, if you want to make, say, $1 million in 3 years, your quest would be, hey, how can I make $10,000 or maybe $100,000 in next 3 months, right? So something like that. And that is more practical. You cannot begin with the end in the mind for 1, 2, 3-year-old goals, because you really don't know what's gonna change. And secondly, if you decide to achieve that goal in like 3 years, if it is a 3-year goal, 3-year adventure, and you think that, okay, cool, I have 3 years to do that, and you begin with the end from there, mostly you will not be able to finish your outcomes. You will spend 2 years, 2.5 years doing nothing, and then the 3rd year you have to just do it. Like most people do that, not everyone. People who can delay gratification, they can actually do things meticulously every day, regularly, but most people can't. And instead of telling them to be more disciplined and all, we have to understand human psychology and the reality. The world is very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. It's VUCA. And you have to create a game plan that is created for the VUCA world. So what you do is, instead of thinking about the entire 1-year plan, you don't think about that right now. You just think, okay, cool, so I have to make this in 1 year. What can I do in 3 months immediately? And try to have as challenging of a goal as possible. So the quest statements are basically based on the smarter principle, like the way you have your goal management template. The goal should be specific, time-bound, measurable, achievable, things like that. So we have something called Smarter, and we create smarter quests. So we'll talk about that. But basically, you write down your quest statement in form of kind of like a wish that you want to have in a present tense, like an affirmation, and you create a game plan for it. Now, this game plan, as you can see, is you can prepare the game plan, or before even creating the game plan, you do a preparation, and the preparation is done on the basis of the character stats. Look, the arrow comes from character stats over to the game plan. So basically what preparation is, like, look at your life right now, look at what you have currently, what composition you have, what competencies you have, what credibility you have, what connections you have, right? What capital you have. Based on these stats that you currently have, and you will create those when you set it up. Based on that, you create your game plan for the quest. And that character stat will keep growing, right? So you will keep adding new things to it because you will be achieving new things. So based on what you are achieving, based on all the new developments in your character stats, you will be able to prepare better and better game plans. But right now, whatever stats you have, you start from there. The other thing that you have to think about from a game plan perspective is project management principles. So there are 4 things that you pay attention to when you're managing a project, and we'll talk about those 4 things as well. The next thing that you do, say for example, your game plan is successful or a failure, you will have a feed forward mechanism. That means based on the success or the failure of the game plan, you will review it. You will make a record of it, whether why it was successful and how, what did you do that made it successful, so that you can repeat it in the future. So you create that record. Or you can also, if it's a failure, you can make a record of what are the things that you missed, what are the things that caused the failure of the game plan, or why the game plan is blocked right now. So you keep a record of that. So that's your feed forward review mechanism at a game plan level, right? And based on the game plan, you create key results. Now, these key results are the most important part of this agile life management system, this game of life. So every game plan would have 3 to 4 key results, right? And even if your game plan is not successful, you might have completed half of those key results, right? You can create multiple game plans to achieve a quest. The quest will be the same mostly. You don't let go of the quest, but you have multiple game plans, multiple strategies to achieve that. So that's your game plan. And every time your game plan fails, some of the key results are completed. These key results are your assets for the next game plan, right? So key results are very, very important. So to manage your key results, usually you have your input metric and output metric. So input metric is what do you have to do to achieve the key results. And the output metric is basically what are you expecting, or what is the outcome of that key result, right? So you have an expectation that this is what you will get, but most of the time you might not get the output that you were expecting. You will get a different output. So you mention that output as well. And you change your key results and input metric every week. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But input metric, based on the input metric, you define your task. By the way, task has different filters. So it has time slots, it has themes, it has categories and segments. We'll talk about that. These are all essential to engage in the game of life. So that's the next stage. Another key. How do you engage in the game of life? So you already created your plan, you created key results, you wrote down the tasks that you're gonna do. But now it's time for you to engage. So what do? Well, you engage on a weekly and a daily basis. So on a weekly basis, you review and plan, right? And on a daily basis, you review, plan, and you act, right? So you only have a present day to do actions. So you have 2 dashboards or 2 areas that I showed you, I think, and I will show it to you again. So you will do your daily plan, review, and action. And based on your daily review, plan, action, you will also do your weekly review. And your plans are also based on the daily. Your daily actions are also based on the weekly planning. So during the week, you plan what are things you're gonna do throughout the day, throughout the week, every day. So all those things, that's part of engagement. Now, as you can see, there is an arrow that goes to the output metric from the weekly review. So every week when you review your week, you also review whether you achieved your key results or not. Because usually key results are 1, 2, 3 weeks long, right? And every week will have a couple of or 3, 4 key results that they are focusing on. And they will see whether the output metric, is the same or is it changing, so you get like real-time feedback right from the weekly review. Also, sometimes you might have to change the entire game plan. So when you review on a weekly basis, you can see here, there's an arrow that goes to the game plan as well. So it says that, based on your review, you might have to change the game plan. Maybe you might have to change some key results over there, or maybe the entire game plan should be changed. So this is something that you will review on a weekly basis, and you change those game plans. And the next thing that you do is celebrate. That's the last key of this framework. You celebrate. So what does celebration means? So based on and I showed you the reward shop, based on your review, your weekly performance, you get rewards. So you get rewards on a weekly basis. You get rewards if you achieve the adventure. So you can see the dotted line coming from here. And you also get a reward based on completion of quests. So there are quest rewards as well. So you have these three types of rewards, and we also have special rewards. And special rewards are basically something that you can buy using points. You get points. So how do you get points? Basically, you get points from your task. So as you can see, there is a dash line over here, dotted line that shows points. So you get points from completing tasks, and then you also get points from your habits. So as you can see, there is a dotted line that comes from here to the points from habits. So when you complete your habits or when you complete your task, you get points. If you reach a certain streak score during habits, you get more points. And you can use these points to pay for special rewards or some additional rewards. You also have a bucket list. As you can see, the bucket list arrow, it comes all the way from the core principle. So what you value in your life, what is important in your life, only on the basis of that, you will create bucket list item, won't you? So you create those bucket list item, and some of these items could be used as rewards. So that is how you manage the rewards. And the last thing that I wanted to show you is this line that comes from habits. As you can see that it comes from habits and goes to the daily planning and action, and life tools. It comes from life tools and enters again to the daily planning habit. So on a daily basis, when you are doing daily action, you have certain habits that you will take care of, that you will complete. And you also have certain life tools that you will use, like, dream journaling or gratitude journaling. These are these tools that you are using. Basically, they're not really part of the Live Life Legendary system, but they are additional tools that are connected to the slopes and habits and your identity. So that is something that you manage on a daily basis. So this was the Live Life Legendary System framework. Now I know that it looks very complicated, but in the next videos, we will set up each and every key under each of these pillars, and you will get a better understanding of what this framework is all about. And if you have any questions, you can write them down in the description below. If you like the content, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.